an exiled family of Puritans is left to fend on their own in the wilds of North America, where the presence of a coven and their own zealotry soon begin to wear their psyches down in Robert Eggers' The Witch. I want to get Preggers by
Damn
Eggers.
it, I was about to say that.
Look, man, I said it before, and I'll say it again. This movie took the top spot in my favorite horror movie of all time. I know it's not a movie for everyone because it is shockingly slow-paced, but in the best way. I don't mean that in any with any negative connotation at all. This is a movie that builds up to a frothing conclusion. That's one of the best endings I have seen in horror. But if you have no attention span, please avoid this movie. It's gonna fucking bore the shit out of you because
if you're that guy that shat on me for defending Shin Godzilla, don't watch this.
Yeah, it's definitely not a movie for gorehounds or people that just want fucking bullshit pouring at their eyeballs. There's a time and place for that. This is not that movie. I recently let you watch this. I made a big mistake, and I must admit this. The movie is in Old English, so if you're not used to that, as most of us are not, I recommend watching with subtitles. And I watched it with subtitles and had no problem because subtitles just become second nature when you read them. And I just didn't think about it when I let you watch it. And I should have asked at the beginning, but I just winged it. I said, nah, he'll say something.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where it's too late to do anything. You know what I'm saying? I was like, a rock and hard place. So you watch this without subtitles, so it's hard.
Let's just say I missed like stretches of 5 minutes of complete dialogue at times.
It's easy to get lost in the dialogue because they do, keep true to the times in that sense. That being said, this is a first impression review for you. This is, I've already watched this movie a few times and I fucking absolutely love it more and more each time. It's it has a subtitle of a New England folktale, and I think that is the best way to describe this movie. It's like a parable of the times, in the sense that, it takes from the myths that are so prominent in our American past, especially with witches. That's a big thing, and the fact that the people that populated this continent were very religious. Yeah. There's hags in this, so that's a pro.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those pros and cons. Pros, number one for me,
hags.
Hags.
Yep.
Plenty of hags to be had here.
Get some good hag action at the end.
Hag action. Hags grinding babies and smothering their pieces all over them.
Cutting little dinglings off.
Yeah. Hot hags with big ass titties. Yeah. Naked hags in a black mass. Yep.
Big old
Anya
butts.
Taylor-Joy becoming a hag.
Yep.
Spoiler alert. It's hag heaven if you're into hags. So that's a big pro.
That's a really big pro.
Pro number two for me, witch movies have always been profoundly scary for me.
Yeah, I don't know
when they're done right.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And this one is so exquisitely done.
It's one of those kind of like rarely touched
subjects,
subgenres, so that when they're done well, it's actually pretty spooky.
And this is one of I think it's the best in its subgenre, period. And it transcends its own subgenre. So, yeah, man, the witch angle is a big fucking pro for me. It's legitimately scary, which brings me to another pro. And I think hopefully the fact that you weren't trying to keep up with the dialogue, this didn't go by the wayside. And it's the atmosphere. It's thick in this. It's thick in this, man, and it builds up so incredibly well. Various times too, because various people in the family are afflicted in a variety of ways that go beyond the supernatural. But when we're talking about the supernatural angle of it, yeah, man, it builds up steadily for each one until it goes to this big fucking exciting climax that's legitimately chilling and kind of like sad in a way,
Hags.
And plus hags, which, it's not sad. But anyway, the atmosphere is so thick. Another pro for me, beautifully shot movie, man. Just amazingly beautifully shot. Not an ugly image in this. Even when the images are supposed to be ugly, you're like, that's ugly, but I love it because it looks great.
And
hags. And another big pro is the villainous entities in this. When you see them, they are there just for the right amount of time. And when they are there, and not to ruin one of the big scenes in this
You
movie.
kind of already ruined the ending. So.
I did kind of do that already, but this is another big scene, and I didn't know. I think I know you. I think that you might know what I'm talking about here. Is a certain entity makes its presence known, and that is a chilling scene, visually. You know, on an aural level, it's just bone chilling. Really, really well done. I absolutely love all that. Another huge pro. The score, man, just does wonders to feed into this atmosphere. But the biggest pro for me is that this is a parable, in the sense that yes, there are witches. Yes, there's a coven. Yes, it has this conclusion that will knock your socks off. But ultimately, the villains are the people themselves. They do themselves in with their own variety of sins and their zealotry, that they're overzealous much to the point where they deconstruct themselves and they make themselves victims to all this from the beginning. And that's always kind of the best kind of horror movie, when people get their comeuppance. But it's kind of a tragic comeuppance too, because you see them struggle with that, especially the father. There's that scene where he's begging to God to forgive him, and it's sad, man. It's really sad. So when the conclusion comes, as it does, it's a very tragic conclusion. And of course, there's gonna be that ilk of horror fan that's all like, "Hell yeah, yeah, look at that shit." But I think
look at those hags.
Yeah, they're missing the point. The hags are awesome still, but they're missing the point of the movie. And but I get it. It's an awesome movie, so I also kind of get their point of view. Anyway, I know you agree with all those to a degree or another. If you don't, let me know. But what are some other pros that you might think of?
The hot hags. I also think Alan Rickman's last role was pretty great.
Yeah, man. The male lead in this has Alan Rickman's voice.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
It's pretty crazy.
He's pretty good though. I think the performances are all pretty good.
Oh yeah, rock solid.
Like, there is a character I wanted to punch the whole time.
The mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the role she's playing, so you're fine with it. The movie has, like you said, it has atmosphere, and you kind of lose yourself in it. Like, I didn't know where it was going, which is good. That's a pro for me. I didn't know where it was going. It's not predictable in any way. So you're just kind of along for the ride. And it's not structured like any other movie, or like most traditional movies. So when stuff happens, you're kind of like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? So it's pretty interesting. It's kind of got one of those things that I like, where it's kind of just like a couple people dealing with themselves, basically, which is cool. So yeah, I think to add to that stuff is just the feel of it.
Yeah, another pro that you reminded me with all that is the horror setups in this are exceptional. There's no cheap, like stings in music. If anything, there's abruptness to the horror. One of the ones they showed in the theatrical trailer is with our main character, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, and her young sibling, the baby, and she's playing the peekaboo game, and then it just disappears. And there's an abrupt cut after that. And there's just a stark horror to that. There's no jump scare. Yeah. There's no building up to it. It's just, it happens. And I think every horror set piece in this kind of works that way. Yeah. It just happens.
It's just shit it's just like basically seeing people live with each other and hate each other, basically. Or just tolerate each other, and then it'll suddenly cut to something that's kind of freaky. But since you're so used to being in this other setting, the sun cuts to, the hot hag, basically. And then the weird music that comes along with it, it's all just kind of unsettling.
Yeah.
Because it's such a different setting. There's two different settings.
It's a weird juxtaposition of moods, if you will.
Yeah.
And there's some stark imagery in this that is, it'll make your hair stand on end. Most notably, Black Phillip. I mean, I think everybody knows about that from the trailers. A big-ass goat. And they really make a good and subtle use of this character, for lack of better words, until it becomes something bigger in the movie. And it's just something you got to see. And, but yeah, just everything is so well set up. Cons in this movie, well, if you have to use subtitles in this movie, you know, unless
Yeah.
you're like so well versed. And it's not like thick old English. Don't get me
No,
wrong.
it's weird because like for the most part you'll get it, but then like a scene will end, you'll realize, yep, I didn't get that last like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's kind of like
You
if
get
you're
most of it, but there's enough of there where you're just kind of like, oh shit.
It's kind of like if you talked another language when you were a kid, and you kind of fell off the horse of talking it so much, and then somebody just super fluent in it also starts talking to you. You have trouble catching up at times, and that kind of might be a problem. It's not a con, and it breaks the movie. No. I'm just saying it might be a con for you if that's an issue. So it's recommended to use the subtitles, just so you can keep up and really, really fully enjoy this movie. Any cons you can think of in this?
The only con that I can think of is not really a con, but it is a warning. It's not for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm kind of even hesitant to call it a horror movie, because it's just kind of a movie with horror elements in there.
Yeah.
You know, the horror is not the main part of it, or it is, but not the hags. The hags are not the main part of it. They're just a part of it.
Yeah, it's fantastic you say that and you bring that up because, yeah, like you said, it's not a con. It is a warning, and I'll use this example. This movie is like The Exorcist in the sense that there are going to be people that misunderstand it and just say it's a horror movie, but you're absolutely right. It's not a horror movie. It's a movie with horror elements, yes, but it has an ulterior motive, and that's really, it's not an ulterior motive in the sense that it is its motive, and it's very upfront and center about it. And, you know, just like The Exorcist is actually a movie about faith, this is a movie about faith and how it can lead you down the wayward path. And that's a very difficult balance to hit. And I think it did it even more deftly than The Exorcist did. You know, there's no confusion with this movie. This is what's going on here, you know?
This is kind of like how I said I was hesitant to call Bone Tomahawk a horror movie. It's more of a Western. This is like another bit of it where there's horror elements, but it's not the important part.
And these are all excellent examples as well because of their pace. This is a meticulously paced movie.
Very, very slow movie.
And again, we don't say that in a negative way, yeah. But anyway.
Takes its time.
No cons, really. We're just some fair warnings for a variety of viewers out there.
You will want to punch the woman.
You will want to punch the woman, that's for damn sure. But anyway, let's give this some final thoughts and a final rating. I'll give it a go this time. Rating 10. Yeah, this is my favorite horror movie at the moment. It took the top spot. I think you can see why. Whether you agree with me of that or not, you know, I don't know. But I think you can understand why I would put it in my top spot. Absolutely beautiful movie, man. From top to bottom. Great acting across the board. I can't find a flaw in this movie. It's that awesome to me. That's some fun stuff. I mean, what more can I say? You know what I'm saying? You want to put a little bow on it? I'll put a little bow on it. A little pink bow or something.
Want to hump a freaking goat? I'll do it.
I'll hump a goat. Anyway, final thoughts and final score.
This movie delivers a goat humping good time, I thought.
That should have been on the poster.
Goat humping
goat
good
humping,
time.
humping apostrophe.
Goat humping good time. That fat guy from that channel no one watches. I thought it was pretty good. This movie's not for everyone, and it is one of those that I have to watch again because I think I missed a lot of it. But it does reek of atmosphere in the best way possible. It's got Alan Rickman's voice in it, so that's good. His body's dead, but his voice still lives with us. I think it's great. I have to rewatch it, but as is, I'll give it an 8.5 just because I'm gonna give me some space to grow. That being said, I have no faults with it. The only fault I have with it is on my end because I think I missed a lot of it.
I am to blame for that. I mean, I don't even know what I was thinking not putting that from the get-go. I can't. And you should have been in my brain as I was watching this with you. I was like, fuck! What the fuck, man?
There's moments where, and it's from the beginning too, but you know what they're saying, but you'll suddenly lose it and be like, oh crap.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, I think your appreciation for it will redouble. It is a movie that creeps up on you. You know, it's one of those. I I've watched it 3 times, and every time I've watched it after the first time, it was like one of those, I gotta see it.
I
gotta see
like how it's shit, how it has stuff that there isn't any obvious setup to things. It just stuff happens.
Yeah.
You know, like when I'm not gonna say the scene, but the goat and Alan Rickman have a little encounter. That just kind of happens, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
All right. This throws a wrench in the works. It doesn't feel long. At least I didn't think it felt long at all. It just kind of goes by.
Yeah, it really does. Despite its pace, it's
but yeah,
really...
this is definitely not for everyone. It's kind of one of those hard to recommends to everyone.
Yeah, but it does get our glowing recommend. What did you think about it? If you haven't seen it, check it out. Hit like, share, subscribe, those notification buttons, because we are out of this sphere of existence. Gonna fly with some hags is what we're gonna do.
You know, my favorite movie is the double VVitch.
Man, the Vitch, some people say.
Yeah, it's
the fuck
retarded, man.
Anyway.